We got a lot to discuss with a new cornerback trade from the Philadelphia Eagles the other day. A lot to talk about here, and I think this is the start of the trade deadline. I don't think the Eagles are done, and we have a lot to discuss regarding the secondary. Let's get straight into it.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. It looks like the Philadelphia Eagles trade a 6th-round pick for 2027 and John Mechie to the New York Jets for cornerback Michael Carter and a 7th-round pick for 2027. Okay, a 5th-round pick for the Jets in 2021 when Michael Carter has played mostly over 80% of the snaps inside more than outside, and it looks like from what Fangio said the last couple days at his press conference a couple days ago, there were talks about Cooper DeJean moving to outside corner full-time, and Fangio kind of shut that down a couple days ago that he's the best man playing inside, one of the best in the league, and we're going to keep him there. Well, it looks like that's probably going to change. At 26 years old, 5 seasons with the Jets, only have allowed 3 touchdowns in his career. And for the 2025 season, we know the Jets are a dumpster fire. He's only given up, I think he's only given up like 9 receptions this year, which really isn't bad. Now, this trade was finalized because of Michael Carter wanting to come to Philly that badly. And it looks like that he agreed to delete the $5 million guaranteed for injury in his 2026 contract year. And this was the only way to complete this trade. Michael Carter wanted out of New York, going to obviously a big contender in the Philadelphia Eagles and getting a starting job there. Okay, now his cap numbers for the next 3 years, he's still on contract. Now, you got to remember here, Michael Carter actually got a big contract from the Jets last year. It's like a $30 million contract. He literally just got a new contract, but he dealt with a back injury last year, and he had a concussion last year. So he has had injuries. I live in New York, so I know Jet fans that have season tickets. I've talked to some people already about this situation, and this is a guy that literally Jet fans actually really like a lot. Just needs to stay healthy. And his best year came from 2023 with Robert Saleh, where he was really good. He was really solid and one of the best nickel corners in the league just a couple years ago. Eagle fans are doing a lot of homework on Michael Carter since he was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a few of them out there that literally watch every coverage snap by him, and this is what a couple of them had to say, saying that they've watched every coverage snap from Michael Carter in 2023 under Robert Saleh. He was incredible. Injuries in a new scheme have greatly diminished his impact, but at 26 years old, there's still a chance he can return to his previous form. And we've seen players that come out of really bad teams, okay? I think we've had a few examples of that. Under a bad scheme, they don't play under a specific good defensive coordinator. Now, ranked wise, he's not really ranked well. He's ranked like 113 out of 115 corners, okay? But he's only had, I think, 16 starts realistically because he's been injured a lot. And I think that's why he was relatively cheap. And but I don't think he was even injured this year, which is a really good sign. Not too bad. Now, if you obviously look at the contract for Michael Carter as of right now, he's on contract for 2025, 26, and 27. 25, he's only a $1.26 million cap hit, which is relatively very cheap. For 26 and 27, he's a little bit over $10 million. And with half the year remaining for the season, if Michael Carter plays really well, potentially maybe they can extend him another couple years. Maybe add some voided years, and then maybe make these cap hits a little bit cheaper, more affordable, and you could have somebody on the inside. I really don't like DeJean playing at CB2. I just don't like it because I feel like you're handicapping him. I feel like because he's the jack of all trades on the field and he could play multiple positions, I like using Cooper DeJean if they have to because of certain situations. Because if your inside is very weak, and we've been through this before, where we've had Zech McPherson, when we've had Avonte Max as long as he's been here, and how much that position suffered, DeJean has really saved it. And it seemed like Fangio did not want to move him, like, at all. There's been talks. We've talked about this early in this video. There's been talks about it, but they really never pulled the trigger on making, Cooper DeJean a full-time CB2. And now, realistically, that could happen. Doesn't mean that Michael Carter won't move to CB2. Maybe they want to try him there, but I think, realistically, the inside is where he's really going to flourish, especially he's done it very well in the past. It's a low-risk, high-reward move. The Eagles barely gave up anything, and the Eagles got better, and I think they did. I mean, look, I think Michael Carter's better than what you have in Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo, so it looks like those two will never see the field again. I didn't think they were even going to make a move at cornerback because Jacorian Bennett, I felt like they were going to give him a chance after the bye. I figured they were going to get an edge rusher. They were going to call it quits and then not really make any other moves, but I was wrong. And maybe they really don't trust what they have in the building. So you have a guy that's at 26 years old, that's going to be in his prime, that's we're going to see what good coaching and a good scheme and what Michael Carter can do under this coaching staff and Vic Fangio. And, Christian Parker will do a very good job with him. And he's under one of the best coaching staffs of the NFL right now, especially with the Philadelphia Eagles. And he has a big chance right now to really revive his career. The Eagles being on their bye week on the week of the trade deadline was probably the best thing possible for us, because then he can come into the building. He has a little bit of time, which is good. And then by the time the Eagles come back off the bye, they still have a mini bye because they realistically don't play the Green Bay Packers till Monday night. So, and trust me, I want another edge rusher because Jahad Campbell's playing the edge and he's learning and hopefully going to get better. You're going to get Nolan Smith back. You're going to have Brandon Graham back. I mean, Jalix Hunt looks like he's starting to play a little bit better now, okay? Maybe they just feel like they're okay with what they have right now. And just getting Michael Carter is just going to be enough because they're going to have two really good talents at CB1 and CB2. And all Michael Carter's got to do is be just a little bit above average. And if he could do that, wow, we are going to be rocking and rolling, and we're going to be back to our normal selves. Now, the Eagles were dominant coming off that bye week in 2024. And I wonder if they could do it again in 2025. You guys let me know. The interesting part about the trade deadline, it's not like it was 5-6 years ago where only the big moves happen. Teams are getting fleeced left and right. I feel like these trade deadlines are becoming more active for mid-tier to lower-tier type players, whether you're looking for someone of a role player, a starter, or depth for your organization, for your roster. And I feel like it's kind of dumbed down a little bit where you're not going to see like big monster blockbuster trades anymore. So you kind of go after the teams out there that have bad records, that aren't in playoff contention at all. Now, we just saw the Patriots actually trade one of their edge rushers, Keon White, to the 49ers for swapping 6th, 7th round picks. That was the news that came out the other day, a couple days ago, which is a really good trade. And that's a perfect example of giving a day 3 pick for a rotational mid-tier type guy that will give you a few more sacks this year that will be productive on the edge. That's what the Eagles need to look for when it comes to the trade deadline. Now, cutting out from the trade deadline quick, because I think this will affect the Eagles as well going down the road when it comes to paying edge rusher. Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end for the Lions, just got paid a big deal. Okay, a huge deal. And I think if I did the math, it was like $35 million per year. Okay, I mean, the really big contract you're looking for after this 2025 season that you're going to be at least a re-sign is going to be Jalen Carter. Okay, Nolan Smith is still a question mark, but I don't think he's getting plus 30, plus $40 million. Okay, he's not Max Crosby, he's not Myles Garrett, and you're not trading for guys like that to pay them money like that. So I think the big contract will be Jalen Carter. And edge rusher, I don't know if they're going to be able to afford. I mean, you can't even go into free agency next year in 2026 and go get an edge rusher. I don't think they can get a top-tier edge rusher next year. It's going to be way too expensive. And now he's going to set the market. Guys like Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, TJ Watt, Trey Hendrickson is probably going to get paid at some point after this year. I don't think they can get away with one more year at this position looking as weak as it is. And I know that Jalix Hunt is coming along. Nolan Smith is, hasn't really done much, but he is well needed coming back. See what he does. But you're not paying an edge rusher next year. There's just too many. The market's just way too high for that position. It's going to be a big need in the draft next year. A huge need going forward, and I definitely agree with that. Now, speaking about, obviously, prospect trades, things like that, you look at the teams that are bad right now. I think the ones we've already talked about, Miami Dolphins, Jalen Phillips. I mean, 26 years old, 2 sacks on the year. You know, I think the Eagles have liked him in the past and could be a guy that can help this team out for this year, no doubt. You have Bradley Chubb that's there as well, 3 or 4 sacks on the year, has no guaranteed money on his contract next year. So he is fresh out of guaranteed money, and that makes it way easier for the Eagles to trade for him and maybe extend him for a year. Maybe he plays well and they extend him another year, something like that. So I think Bradley Chubb is definitely a big one on my list, but I think there's more that I actually like from the trade deadline, especially at this edge rushing position. Now, if you're going to go to another team like the New York Jets that have a Will McDonald that has a little bit more youth at 25 years old, 3 sacks on the year, you know, and I think he's on the block right now because he's, you know, the Jets think he's too one-dimensional. Maybe he doesn't fit Vic Fangio's scheme when it comes to coverage, like how Jalix Hunt can kind of back into coverage a little bit. But if you want someone to pin his ears back and attack, I think Will McDonald would be probably the perfect trade that you could make for him. And you could probably keep him here for another year, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Edge rusher Jermaine Johnson would probably be another one too. Not much statistics this year. There's already been like news from him himself that he's not getting traded, that all the rumors are false about him going anywhere. And apparently he wants to stay with the Jets. So that's perfectly fine with me. I'd rather take Will McDonald over Jermaine Johnson at this point. Now, the most realistic trade that I would make, and I say realistic because I think this would be the number one guy I would get, where I would give up a 3rd-round pick for him right now. Maybe a little bit more than that, and that's Carl Granderson from the New Orleans Saints. He's got another year left on his contract. He's 28 years old, 7th year in the league, all right? On top of everything else, he's got 4.5 sacks. He's got 21 solo tackles this year, 31 total tackles on the year. And like I said, like, he's in his prime, and this is the type of player that you kind of want because, look, Carl Granderson has a really nice bend around the edge. He's physical. He sets the outside pretty well. He contains really well. This is a guy that I've kind of been looking forward to trade-wise. The more I've been kind of reading about it, the more I've been seeing him play this year. And obviously the Saints need to get out of some contracts, and they need draft picks. They need draft capital. So with the Eagles having, 10 to 13 picks. I don't even know how many picks they have right now. This would be the guy that I would go out and get. I think Carl Granderson will have more of an impact than some of the other edge rushers that are rumored to be traded as of right now from Miami or the New York Jets. I would obviously have Carl Granderson as number 1, Will McDonald as number 2, Bradley Chubb as number 3, Jalen Phillips as number 4. And realistically, I don't really know who else is really connected to the Eagles at this point, because usually when it's quiet, it's usually something that we haven't even talked about. It's going to be something that we didn't expect, and that's usually what happens. But I'm kind of just giving it my all right now on who I really want, I think would fit this team for not only this year, but maybe save a little bit more money for edge rusher next year, since I don't think you're paying Nolan Smith a big contract. I don't even know if you're paying him at all at this point. And I think these are your top targets at the trade deadline when it comes to edge rusher. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. What do you guys think about the Michael Carter trade? Do you like it? Do you like Cooper DeJean moving to CB2? How do you feel about edge rusher? Do you feel like Howie Rose needs to go out there and make another move? You let me know in the comments section below. And we're going to let the coaches coach, and let's see what Michael Carter's got, because he seems very happy coming to Philadelphia, and I wish him all the luck and all his success here, because he needs it, and we really need this to really work out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. Make sure you hit the like button because it helps out tremendously. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, follow, peace out, guys.